The world may have looked quite a bit different if only a fraction of the most ambitious megaprojects ever developed had made it past the planning stage. Instead, projects that would have changed urban landscapes and pushed the limits of human creativity have been long forgotten. So in today's video, we'll look at the top 12 megaprojects that were never completed. But before we begin with the list, make sure to like and subscribe to not miss out on more marvelous content. At number 12 is the Herrenchiemsee Neues Schloss. The Herrenchiemsee Neues Schloss was originally intended to be even more magnificent and sumptuous than Versailles. However, even nearly 150 years after he had this vision of his inherited Herreninsel island, King Ludwig II never realized it. However, Ludwig only left 20 finished rooms and a staggering $250 million in bills when he passed away a few years after the plans were finalized. He was also dangerously close to declaring bankruptcy before he passed away too. The castle's unfinished work was partially destroyed as soon as construction was completed. It is fortunate for tourists that guided tours of the castle allowed them to see both these royal rooms. The incomplete elements, such as the unfinished staircase and exposed brick walls, shouldn't depress you too much though. At number 11 is the Golden Finance 117. Golden Finance 117 in Taijin was supposed to be the 5th tallest skyscraper ever built when the construction started 13 years ago. Today, it's probably best known as the structure that those daredevils on YouTube climbed. Even though it reached its maximum height of 597 meters in 2015, the project is still unfinished because the site was abruptly abandoned not long after. Aimed at the ultra-rich, the project featured numerous residential and commercial towers, manors designed in French and Italian styles, a wine museum, vast gardens, and even a polo club. The iconic skyscraper was considered the centerpiece of the complex. Although it seems that a string of unlucky incidents in a market that favors state-owned businesses caused the Golden Finance 117 to fail, no effort was made to revive it either. And even when it was listed for sale alongside a few other Golden Metropolitan assets, it received little interest. And number 2 is the Shark Crossing. Driving along the Shark Crossing and its connecting bridges in the Doha Bay is undoubtedly going to be one of the most breathtaking experiences that drivers can have, thanks to this project. Since Santiago Calatrava, a Swiss Spanish construction artist and engineer, presented his designs in 2011, the government of Qatar has been eager for a massive project to finally start. The project, which was formerly known as the Doha Bay Crossing in the master plan, is now known as the Shark Crossing. The multi-billion-dollar Shark Crossing project will be divided into 3 sections connected by an underwater tunnel. The expected throughput along the Shark Crossing is 6,000 vehicles per hour. However, some experts feel that there is still a cloud over the project because portions of the road, which cross closed tunnels and goes over bridge, may flood because it passes both above and below water. And number 9 is the Zhaiyang International. The Zhaiyang International Project is a large abandoned urban development located in Shijiazhuang, Hebei Province in China. The project was divided into 2 sections. Over 1,300 acres were to be covered by a high-end residential community with low density and expansive water features in the south, and 426 acres would be devoted to a water and enjoyment theme park in the north. It was the Hebei Real Estate Development Group Co. that initiated the project. 2014 saw the Hebei Real Estate Development Group Co. Limited becoming billions of dollars in debt and was placed under investigation for corruption by local authorities. Hebei Real Estate Development Group canceled the initial project in 2017 and ceased operations. Tens of thousands of owners are not permitted to move in if the project is taken over, and the unfinished apartments cannot be used. But stick with us to find out the even crazier project with number 6 on this list. And number 8 is the Ryugyong Hotel. One of the world's tallest vacant buildings is the Ryugyong Hotel in Pyongyang, North Korea, standing at 1,080 feet. North Korea's tallest building, the 105-story Hotel of Doom, has never welcomed a single visitor. The building's completion is expected to cost approximately 5% of the nation's GDP, reflecting the fact that construction started nearly 40 years ago and is still ongoing. The Ryugyong Hotel was under construction in Pyongyang when it was put on hold in 1987 because of North Korea's economic problems. Although construction on the interior was never finished, the hotel reached its peak in 1992. The 105-story Ryugyong Hotel is also known as the 105 Building. It has never received a single visitor up until this point. There have been fresh indications of construction progress, but the building itself still lacks electricity and has no projected completion date. It still maintains the reputation of being the Hotel of Doom. And number 7 is La Sagrada Familia. Since architect Antoni Gaudi started work on his masterpiece in 1882, the Sagrada Familia, with its towering peaks of stone Gothic and Art Nouveau details and a facade that is visible from almost anywhere in the city, has been the center of attention in Barcelona. However, in spite of its magnificent appearance, it is an incomplete piece of art. The issue arose when Gaudi, the church principal's architect, was killed in 1926 after being hit by a tram. The church's first building project permit was granted in 2019. With the start of this new chapter, progress on the narthex on the glory facade and the surrounding area is expected, and the Sagrada Familia is scheduled to be finished in 2026. And number 6 is the National Monument of Scotland. Now, it isn't easy to believe that the architects of Scotland's National Monument perched atop Carlton Hill in Edinburgh intended to build a building on par with the Parthenon in Athens, given the monument's 12 pillars. However, the National Monument of Scotland was not blessed with good timing or adequate funding. In the 1830s, only €16,000 on the project's total expenditure of the $42,000 was completed, a huge amount at the time. Despite efforts to revitalize the project, only 3 of the 16,000 raised pillars were completed, leaving one very lackluster Scottish Parthenon. The monument, which was left unfinished, is now called Edinburgh's Disgrace, which was acquired by the town council after the 1850s. This is true even though that there have been attempts to transform the columns into other buildings, such as a memorial to Queen Victoria, a national gallery, and a Scottish parliament. And number 5 is the Tour de David. The skyscraper Tour de David, named for its financier David Brillenborg, was originally intended to house thousands of people. Squatters, however, moved into the Tour de David after the government halted construction due to a banking crisis that struck the nation 4 years after construction started. The towers were said to have no windows, the balconies lacked railings, and some sections of the walls were just completely missing. However, the settlers moved out of the building in 2014, some 30 miles outside the city, and has remained empty ever since. That's particularly fortunate in light of the 2018 Venezuelan earthquake that caused the building's upper 5 stories to tilt a terrifying 25 degrees. But number 2 on our list could have been such a great architectural marvel, so stay tuned to find out exactly what that is. And number 4 is the Bolt Castle. George C. Bolt was a devoted husband and multimillionaire. A Rhineland castle was to be built on the Hart Island's picturesque Alexandria Bay as a showpiece for his life and for his wife Louise Bolt, the owner of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City. But only 4 years after work started, the happy couple's love story came to an end when Louise passed away unexpectedly. Despite his best efforts, George packed up and left the 120-room castle, never to return. Before the Thousand Island Bridge Authority bought the land in 1977 and allowed visitors inside, the 6-story Bolt Castle stood empty and unfinished for almost 75 years. And number 3 is the Neuschwanstein Castle. The first castle that probably comes to mind when someone asks you to think of a castle is the Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany, which is also the castle at Disney World. This magnificent castle with its soaring white peaks is unfinished, and most people are likely unaware of it. Everything started in 1868 when King Louis II decided to construct his castle in the medieval style, drawing inspiration from his childhood home, Hohenschwangau Castle. But when King Louis II killed himself in 1886, his lofty ambitions came to an end. But even before that, King Louis II never really got to enjoy much of his fairy tale, having only lived there occasionally for roughly 6 months. And number 2 is Pura. Rügen is a German island famous for its stunning beaches and white chalk cliffs. Adolf Hitler intended to develop the largest tourist resort in the world there. Rooms would face the island beaches and featured standard hotel amenities like 2 beds, a sink, and a dresser. The resort could accommodate 20,000 guests. However, the partially constructed resort lay half-finished for many years after the war's outbreak. Eventually, in 2011, one of the building blocks had hotel rooms and apartments available between $400,000 and $900,000. What happens to the remaining abandoned blocks in the abandoned property will only become clear with time. And at number 1 is London's Garden Bridge. Nothing has divided a city more than London's Garden Bridge when it comes to civic projects. The Garden Bridge, which was envisioned by British actress Joanna Lumley and supported by the previous mayor of the city, Boris Johnson, is described as a stunning new public garden and a vital new pedestrian crossing spanning the River Thames from the south bank to Temple Station on the north bank. However, there had been strong opposition to the project from the start, and the opposition is only going to get stronger because public money is at risk. The Garden Bridge's development directly addresses the main points of dispute in the present discussions regarding the availability, affordability, and function of green space in cities. To begin with, there are concerns about the project's lack of transparency and the impartiality of the design competition and procurement procedure, in addition to the impact of well-known architects and celebrities. But these were some of the world's most ambitious plans left undone. What about some projects that were given the green light but messed up embarrassingly? Find out the 15 most expensive construction mistakes ever made.